Good morning, good people. Good morning. Um, I hope everyone is doing well this morning. I just wanted to come on to give a brief introduction of what we have going on. Um, I know you noticed there's another chair here, but my co-host, my hubby, he's not here right now, but he will be joining me um, during this podcast. So we have a lot to discuss, a lot to unpack, a lot to talk about. So it's going to be very interesting. Um, the main thing for us is that we want to be authentic. This is not going to be filtered. It's not going to be edited. We're not going to have a playlist or have things that we discussed before we record these videos and then we discuss it on on the videos, so that way we know what to answer and how to answer and what questions are going to be asked. We're not doing any of that. When I say authentic and I say raw and real, that's exactly what you're going to get. So questions that he's going to probably ask me, I have no idea what he's going to ask, so I won't have my answers already pre-recorded in my head to respond to what he's going to ask or even what he's going to say, and vice versa. So it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be touching. It's going to be real, authentic. Not to say that other podcasts do not offer that or give that, but I think we're missing like the authentic side of people's lives. People can show you one thing and talk about one thing on camera, but then when the cameras and the lights are off, they live totally different. It's a different life, a different lifestyle. They're not so to speak practicing what they preach. They're living a different way and all of that stuff. So we're going to unpack and unravel all of those things for you, how life has been for us since we've gotten married, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the blessings, just the spiritual warfare, the things that we have dealt with and are still currently dealing with throughout our lives, and how good God has been. So we're gonna unpack a whole lot of stuff. Our childhood upbringing, how we were raised, the difference in male and females. It's just a whole lot that we're gonna discuss and that we're gonna talk about, and that we hope that we can help someone else along their journey that's already married or thinking about getting married. The things that are not discussed. When you mention marriage, you think about beautiful dresses, tuxedos, limousines, or sports cars, or depending on your budget, how extravagant you want your wedding to be. You think of all of that, but you don't think about all the hell that you're going to go through after you say I do, once the two become one. You don't think about that. We don't spiritually prepare ourselves for that and for the spiritual warfare that's going to come from that, because a marriage is a covenant and God covers covenant. So we're going to unravel a lot of things: childhood trauma, um how you deal with, I lost a child, um my husband lost both of his parents, how is life for him and how it changed him in a way to where he didn't he has none of his parents. His mom and his dad are both deceased. My only child passed away in 2017. So we're going to discuss and open up how we transitioned from those situations to where we are now and what happened in between. Because a lot of times we hear people talk about, oh, I went through this, but then God. So this happened, but then God saved me, God helped me, God healed me. But they discussed nothing about the stuff that happened in between, the trials, the triumphs, the hurdles, the crying all night, that can't sleep, that can't eat. You don't hear about the things that happen in between that transition. And that's what we want to shed light on through our experiences and through our lives. So you might hear a dog barking. Everyone that knows us, they know we have a dog, our fur baby Cash. You might hear a dog barking. Anything can take place during these videos. And like I said, we are not editing anything. Look, see, I spoke that and listen at him. But Cash code. But yes, so you're gonna get all of this is gonna be raw, it's gonna be real, and it's gonna be authentic. authentic, and that is the plan. That is what we want to bring to God's people. And that's what I think the world is missing. People just being authentic. That's why a lot of marriages, I've been divorced, my husband has been divorced, a lot of marriages are not lasting. And we want to try to decrease those numbers within our family and friends and all those that hear and see these videos. We want to try to decrease that, try to give. We went through premarital counseling before we got married. That was something that neither of us had done before previously when we were married. We never did that. We never was even offered that. Nobody talked about that. Everybody talked about the wedding, getting married, the cake, the dress, the the wedding party, the venue. Everybody talked about all of that, but nobody discussed and told us, well, y'all need to go to premarital counseling. So we didn't have, it was an option, I'm sure, before when we were married before, but no one discussed that with us or even brought that up to us. That's the reason why community is so important. Getting yourself surrounded with God fearing people, people that love the Lord, people that know that God is a God of order, knowing that there's order to a marriage, there's order to our lives, even in our singleness. We're going to speak about that too, about being single, how it was for us when we were single, the things that we experienced being single, all of that. So we're going to unwrap, because a lot of times people put pressure on you when you get a certain age and you're not married, and they're like, well, you need to hurry up and get married. They do the same thing with children. We're going to discuss that too, about children, about the time frame that people put on you to have things done. There's nothing wrong with you because you're single. There's nothing wrong with you because you've never experienced being pregnant and having a child before. There's nothing wrong with you. So we're going to discuss all of that in these videos. So I just wanted to come on briefly just to discuss what we were going to be doing. Another thing I want to add is this. My husband and I talked about this last year about doing a podcast, and I was like, do a podcast? We don't have an extra room that we can just set up totally like, and I have all of that stuff. I have like the lights, the tripods, and all that stuff, the backdrops. We actually got a backdrop to put up for this. But then after I put it up, I was like, we have a whole art wall that basically describes our life, what we've gone through, what we've been through individually and collectively. So this is an art wall. I know you can't see. One day I'm going to show you guys the whole wall, because this is a huge wall that have different art pieces on here, along with pictures along throughout our journey and what those things mean to us. So yeah, but so we're going to be transitioning and moving a little bit throughout the video. So every background is not going to be the same. Our plan is to bring on guests, bring other people on. So, but to go back before I go there. So God was like, you think you need a studio? You think you need a room to prepare to speak to my people? I gave you a home. You can use any space in your home to sit down, set up a camera, or set up your phone on a tripod and just let me move through you. Let me speak through you to save my people. And I was like, you know what? This is humble beginnings. This is very humble beginnings for us, because we don't know where this is going to take us and how it's going to transition later on. But it's good to be able to see where you started from and everything in between, to see how God transitions you to something bigger and better. So maybe later on we might be moving into another house and might not be in this home anymore, and we might have a room in that house where it's totally set up and dedicated for this. So I don't know. So God was like, think about a spot, create the spot, and then just go to work. So I'm being obedient and I'm going to work. It is not perfect, and we don't want it to be, and we don't want, that's what we don't want people to think, that that things that we do we're not perfect. We're not perfect. We never will be perfect. So just like with a prayer closet, I've heard people, when I mention about my prayer closet, I've heard people say, oh, but I don't have a prayer closet. I had a relationship with God and was praying before I created that space for a prayer closet. So you don't need those things to allow God to use you and to allow him to move through you to connect with his people. So you don't need all those things. So don't let what you see on the internet or what other people tell you make you feel like you're not ready, you don't have the right equipment, you're not equipped within yourself, you haven't been saved long enough, you don't have the relationship with God that I have. Don't let those things stop you from allowing God to use you. So that's very important. Don't let what you feel like you don't have to moving forward in your obedience, because where you are, someone else wishes you they were there. They have people that are homeless. They have 5 and 6 family members living in a 2 bedroom or a 1 bedroom house with 1 bathroom. There's a family right now, a family of 7 that's living in a home that I know that is very uncomfortable for them because it's so many people in a smaller space. And here we are complaining about things. It's only 2 of us in here plus a dog. We're in 2,000 square feet, and and I was in my mind thinking, I don't have enough room to set up an area to do a podcast and to do videos. But God was like, no, that's a cop out. That's your way out of not wanting to do what I've been talking to you about doing for quite some time. And like I said, my husband and I talked about it last year, and I was like, I don't know. I wasn't ready. I had thought about it before he had mentioned it, but then I thought about it again when he mentioned it, and then I felt like I wasn't ready. But if we have to move when we're ready, a lot of times we won't even move. That's where our obedience comes in, when we do things that we don't want to do or feel we're not ready for, or we're not qualified for, or we are not equipped for. So if you're thinking about doing a podcast is not a podcast. Cameras, tripods, um televisions, studios, none of that stuff creates a podcast. None of that stuff creates a podcast. Those are things that we create as people ourselves. Okay, well, I need a studio. I need a separate room. I need a design. I need to set it up like this. I need to paint. I need art. I need certain type of furniture. I need the best cameras and the best lighting. I need all of that stuff. There's people that are recording, content creators that are recording from a ring light with a cell phone that has more views and are reaching more people than people that are actually set up in studios or have an extra room that they're not using in their home, that they have actually set up to look like a studio and have a whole podcast room. So don't let whatever God puts in your heart, run with it. Don't second guess it. If you know it comes from the Lord, do not second guess it. Do not halt. Do not pause. Just, God, thank you for choosing me for what and finding me worthy for what I didn't find myself worthy to do. So please strengthen me. Please give me the patience. Please give me what I need. Equip me to be able to carry out this order that you've given me. And let me do it with love. Let me do it with joy. Let me do it with peace. Not with perfection, not thinking I have to be perfect, not being scared to mess up and all of that stuff. That's a fear I used to have. Some of you know that I was doing videos like over 2 years ago on YouTube. So these videos are going to actually go on our YouTube. My husband has a YouTube as well. So these videos are going to go on our YouTube channels. But I remember I used to be afraid, like, to speak. And I broke out of that, like just trying it, like recording myself without sending it anywhere, just recording it and then playing back and playing it back. And I'm saying to myself, that girl is really good. I'm better than I thought I was. See, but I was doubting myself. It was self-doubt. So whatever you have to do to build up that momentum, along with prayer and along with surrounding yourself with people that's going to encourage you, that's going to see things in you that you don't see in yourself. Not people that when you come up with an idea of doing something, they shoot it down. Like, Nah, you ain't good enough for that. You serious? You can't do that. No, you won't